Question number 2, Melissa Lee.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. My question is to the Minister of Finance and asks, what reports has he received on the outlook for the New Zealand economy in the lead-up to Budget 2016?
The Honourable Bill English.
Well, Mr. Speaker, the economic context for Budget 2016 is reasonably positive. For instance, while the dairy sector is struggling, New Zealand has a diversified economy and total exports increased by almost $2 billion last year, despite the fact that dairy exports decreased by $3 billion. The labour market is relatively robust, with over 200,000 new jobs in the last 3 years, and the annual average wage rose 2.3% in the last year to $58,000. These factors are among the many signs of sustainable, solid economic growth, which in turn supports the government's finances.
Supplementary.
Supplementary question, Melissa Lee.
To the Minister, how will Budget 2016 reflect the government's continued commitment to responsible fiscal management?
The Honourable Bill
Well, Mr.
English.
Speaker, well, the member will just have to wait till budget day to see the details. But the House can expect the government to continue to build on the significant progress so far. An $18 billion deficit in 2011 was turned into a small surplus last year, and we are working to maintain and grow surpluses. We also want to focus on reducing debt to 20% of GDP by 2020.
Supplementary.
Supplementary question, Melissa Lee.
To the Minister, what steps will the government take in Budget 2016 to repay debt?
The Honourable Bill
Well, Mr.
English.
Speaker, part of the spending allowances, Mr. Speaker, the new spending allowances we set out last year for 2016 and 17 have been rearranged. A portion of spending previously earmarked for Budget 2017 has been brought forward, and another portion of spending previously earmarked for Budget 2017 has been used to reduce debt. These changes to the allowances will reduce spending by around $1.2 billion over the next 5 years, helping to further reduce debt and meet the government's debt target.
Supplementary.
Supplementary question, Grant Robertson.
He said, Mr. Speaker, when he said today that additional investment will be funded by, quote, reprioritising within the Crown's large balance sheet, what does that actually mean?
The Honourable Bill English.
Well, Mr. Speaker, it means that where we have capital that we don't believe the government can manage to best effect or should continuously own, including state houses and financial instruments, the government is willing to free up capital from those assets to spend it on necessary infrastructure.
Supplementary question, Grant Robertson.
In light of that answer, can the Finance Minister assure New Zealanders he will not be selling off any more state houses?
The Honourable Bill English.
Well, Mr. Speaker, no. In fact, probably the opposite, because we believe having thousands of the wrong size of houses in places where they're not needed is not a good use of taxpayers' money. We focus on meeting the needs of tenants, not holding on to the houses built in the 1960s.
Order. Mr Twyford, a little interjection is acceptable, but when it's a barrage like that, it's not. Supplementary question, Melissa Lee.
To the Minister, how do the changes in budget allowances affect the government's priority of reducing taxes?
The Honourable Bill English.
Mr. Speaker, lowering income taxes remains a government priority. In particular, we want to address the higher marginal tax rates faced by low and middle income earners as this economy continues to deliver moderate but sustained increases in incomes. However, as we've always said, tax reductions remain dependent on fiscal and economic conditions. With continuing tight fiscal conditions, we don't currently have an explicit provision for tax reduction in the fiscal forecast. However, we will consider these either in Budget 2017 or after, as and when the fiscal situation improves.
Question number 3.